during the early 90s. She also lived and went to high school in Manitou Springs from 85 to 88 and went to Coronado High School in Colorado Springs in 1989. She also spent about a year at Manual High School, all of these in Colorado Springs area. In June of 1993, as I said before, unfortunately, Becky's body was found in the forest of Douglas County. We started the investigation, and where we're at today is asking for anyone who knew Becky, who recognizes any of these photographs of her, anyone that she was with in the summer of 1993, anyone that she might have talked to, anyone that she was associated with, or anyone who saw her, if they could contact the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we'll have that number for the detective that is involved in the case, share that information with them. We really need that. We have been in contact with her family. She is survived by her mother and brother, and they are cooperating in this investigation and providing us information. You can imagine how difficult it is for them to have not known where their daughter was because we weren't able to identify her. And again, I want to thank United Data Connect and their staff for reaching out to us and being a part of this partnership that helped us with this genealogy track, which we later was able to positively identify the DNA of Becky to known DNA to identify her. And of course, we couldn't have done that without Crime Stoppers assisting us financially in putting that together. I want to give an opportunity for Undersheriff Holly Nicholson Cluth, who was assigned to this case originally in 1993, to say a few words, and then we'll open it up for some questions. Undersheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. As a new detective in 1993, I had no idea that this case would haunt me for 27 years. Over the years, many people were involved in reconstructions of what she may have looked like, of the crime scene, of evidence, examinations, working with a variety of agencies to try to examine what we had left of Rebecca. And I just have to say that I'm just so thankful that this part has been solved, that over all of this time, there's now a family that we know this girl belonged to. And she is someone, she's no longer our Jane Doe. So thank God for that. It really is the commitment of Sheriff Spurlocks to cold case investigations and committing personnel and resources to that helped solve this case. And obviously there's a lot more work to be done, but I'm confident that we'll find out more, and with the public's help, be able to find out how she got there and what happened to her, and especially for the family, for the closure for the family. So, thank you.
I wanted to just finally say just two things quickly and open up for questions. Coroner Jill Roman, who's right behind me, her office is tasked and has the responsibility for identifying persons, and she did assist us and was helpful. So thank you, Jill, for your assistance and getting the identification and helping us notify Becky's next of kin. So I'm available for a few questions. Keeping in mind this is an ongoing investigation, so some of the particulars we won't be able to answer. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We were just told by Metro Denver Crime Stoppers that they will up the reward for any information that leads to the arrest of the persons involved in killing Becky up to $10,000. So thank you very much, and we really appreciate that partnership again. Thank you.
Sure. Can you fill in the blank? I don't know if I'm missing something, but case in 1993, wasn't there a family that continued to let authorities know that there was a young girl missing?
So, yes, there was, and we have been in contact with the family. The unfortunate part about it is that we had no idea who she was. We had no ability to match her to anyone, and there are hundreds of thousands of missing persons in the United States. Unfortunately, the way that Becky was found, we were unable to do a facial photograph. We were unable to share that. There was some work done where there was some facial reconstruction. We did do a number of press releases over the years with that to show it and say, hey, does anybody recognize this person? But again, we were using technology that was, of course, working in the dark. And so unfortunately, it wasn't until we were able to do the genealogy tie where we were able to connect all of the dots and we were able to locate her family.
Do we know how long Becky's remains had been in the forest before anyone had found them?
I believe the investigation led us to believe that she was there no more than 72 hours before she was found. Right now, it's undetermined for cause of death, and that is still at the hands of the coroner. We again been working with them, and as we find more information, that might fill in some of those gaps as well.
Can we speak to the relief that the Rediker family is feeling right now?
You know, I think I had the opportunity to be on the phone, on a Zoom phone call with them, and I think I don't know if I would call it relief. I would call it a reigniting of sadness, because they had missed their family member for all of those years and had no idea what had happened to her. They had conjured up all kinds of thoughts that could have, where she was at, who she was, until we had to make that difficult phone call to say we have positively identified the remains of a body that we now know for sure is your daughter, Becky. And from that point, it was obviously very traumatic for them. But again, they've been very cooperative for us and helped us fill in a lot of information that we didn't have. And as I told the detectives when they came up and said, we've identified her, we know who she is, brought the detectives together and said, okay, this is a homicide that just occurred, and that's how we're handling it. This is an active working homicide case that the detectives and the staff from my office and other agencies that are assisting us, we're working this as if it just occurred.
Did her family stay in Colorado, or did they live somewhere?
No, her family moved away, and that was a difficult issue too, about trying to identify who the person was when the family had moved away.
Are there any persons of interest at this time?
Right now, we have no persons of interest, because this is an investigation really that just started the second that we were able to identify Becky. And we are again asking everyone, and particularly anyone who lived in the Colorado Springs area, Manitou Springs, Old Colorado City. If you lived in that area, you went to school with, you knew, knew her as Becky. If you knew her or you knew who she hung out with, I'd ask you to contact the lead detective on this case is Detective O'Harold, and his number is 303-784-7815. Repeating, Detective Harold, 303-784-7815. And he would appreciate any information that the public has, no matter how small it is. You knew her in class. We would like to fill in the blanks from her life that we really just don't have available to us.
Are you working with any of the agencies down in the Colorado Springs area?
So we have been in contact with both the Teller County Sheriff, El Paso, and the City of Colorado Springs. Those are the areas where she would have been in and around. And so we are working with them to see if there's any information or intelligence information that we might be able to glean from it.
Sheriff, your office has had pretty good success within the last 12 months with cold cases. You've reiterated a couple of times over the last year that there's a message to there is someone, a murderer, maybe in custody right now. Nobody knows at this point, but your message again that you're not going to stop no matter how many years later.
Yeah, the message of this office is when I came in and created the cold case team and we created a cold case review team, the second we did that, the commitment was we were going to work the cold cases that were assigned to us, that were a part of who we are in Douglas County, murdered victims, and in this case, a Jane Doe. And the mission was we would not stop until we identify them. We had luck in one where we had a conviction just recently. And this one, as the undersheriff said, was very sad because we can't even work a homicide case. We can't work anything until we know who this person is. And when Detective Jensen was able to break that seal with the help of United Data Connect and really put a name to it, now we can start working it. And that's how we got these photographs. We had no idea. And those are the photographs that we were able to receive through family members and other sources that will help us help you folks, the citizens, particularly those of you down in the Colorado Springs, El Paso, and Teller County area, that if you ever saw Becky, had a contact with her, or knew her, again, that will help our detectives do what we really need to do, and that's help fill those blank spots and find out who murdered Becky.
Sheriff, back in 2012, you guys, the exhumation for remains, was that the kind of you got the ball rolling toward getting DNA from this case to match it with the family member? Follow up, what happened to the remains now? Did you finally get those, or did it?
So a couple questions. Yes, that was obviously part of the help and the work with the coroner's office. We did have her body exhumed, and some of the evidence from that investigation did assist us in getting appropriate DNA so we could connect it to the genealogy tree and identifier. Now, at this point right now, we have, again, to your question, how does the family feel? We are working with the family and what is in the best interest. Obviously, everything is now still. Becky is a piece of our evidence, something that we covet and we hang on to. And when it is appropriate and timely for us, then we will be working with the family to make sure the remains are either returned to her gravesite that was here in Castle Rock, or we'll be working closely with the family with that.
Was there any other DNA found?
So there is a lot of evidence that we are now obviously going through, because in 1993, the evidence that we had available to us and the technology is completely different than where we're at today. So all of that, we have a section that is specifically working on all of that. So I can't say that there was new evidence or anything else until we painstakingly go through every piece of evidence. And then hopefully there could be something there that can connect us to a suspect. Anything else? Again, thank you all very much. I cannot stress enough that if you knew anyone, or you knew Becky, or you had anything connected in Becky's life, please call our office and help us identify the suspect or suspects that were responsible for her death and leaving her body in the National Forest without a name for all these years. And again, I want to thank United Data Connect and especially thank Denver Metro Crime Stoppers for raising that reward. So if you have any of that information, please come forward, and if it's assistance and it helps us, we'll definitely connect you to that reward. So please help us, help the family, and then now help us identify the person who caused this. Thank you very much. Thank you.